Genesis 23, Facing Loss with Faith. Sarah lived up to 127 years old. She died at Kiriath Arba in Hebron in the land of Canaan, and Abraham went to mourn for Sarah and weep over her. It has been a very long desert walk of 62 years ever since Abraham left Haran to look for a land whose builder and maker was God. He left his father's house at 75, going with his wife to find the land. At 100 years, God had given them a child, Isaac. Yet at 137 years, Abraham lost the wife Sarah. When Sarah dies at 127, she leaves behind a husband and a son of 37 years old. It's a painful part of the story that the wife didn't live to see a land title in their names. The house of faith is now quiet, with no sound of a mother. Every corner echoes her name, Sarah, and still there is silence that she is missing. The laughter and the dances she had through the morning light at the news of Isaac now falls like the velvet light. Sarah is no more. She's gone to be with her maker. But Abraham chose to own his first plot of land in Canaan at a full price. He bought Makapera at a price of 400 shekels of silver. That's about $3,500, translating to 12.6 million Ugandan shillings. Abraham buys the first plot of land. The man who walked into the country with nothing now owns part of the land. Never underestimate the power of your small beginning. A man who walked into the land as a squatter now became the landlord and one of the greatest men of their time. Abraham now has a big loss to look at, the loss of his wife. It's here that we get to talk about facing loss with faith. In life, we sometimes win and sometimes lose. Loss is not the last chapter of life. There is still something more after we have lost. Sometimes our eyes are clogged with tears that may hinder us from seeing the next opportunity. Changing the face does not change anything, but facing the change changes everything. Be strong for your losses because they develop the strength you need for tomorrow. Walk through the storm tall because no storm is forever. Even this shall pass. The eagle uses the storm to reach unimaginable heights. While weak birds sink in the storm, the eagles get to be promoted to greater heights in the storm. We must see losses as building blocks. You needed that loss to build your knowledge on what works and what does not work. Mike Jordan was asked why he was such a star that never missed a shot. He answered and said, "I have lost so many winning shots in my career, and that's why I win." Is there any Abraham in the room who is facing a terrible loss and struggling to move on? Bury the loss and move on. Bury the loss and go to the next chapter of your life. No one ever goes to the next chapter of their life if they keep on rereading the old one. In the days of Idi Amin, most Indians he chased out of the country were given 24-hour ultimatum. But many of them could not cope with the loss. Instead of driving their families back to home, they drove them and drowned in the river Nile. They couldn't cope with the huge loss of leaving all their wealth in the hands of people that were not their relatives. It is time to face any loss with hope, knowing that He who promised is faithful. The true meaning of hope is being able to see that there is light despite of all the darknesses that we could be facing. Loss will knock at your door and mine at some point. Be ready to look in the eye and say, even this shall pass, and I'll stand again. Facing loss with faith. Thank you for listening. Patrick, Living Word Community. God bless you.